book 3. Is that correct? We stopped with book 3. Yes, I've got Smog Squad and the Barbarians. Do we have book 4? All right. So book 4, Friends of Fireballs. If you guys want to pop on up.
I'll do it.
Okay, so we had book 4, and in book 4, Gulliver was let out of prison, and he Lilliput.
Lilliput? Real quick. Lilliput. Everybody say it with me. Lilliput. Lilliputians. Lilliputians. All right. Oh crap! What's the other one? Blefuscu. Last one. Blefuskins. You guys are so enthusiastic today. So enthusiastic.
It's the week before spring break.
Okay, fine. Here I was going to say it's because we're missing like a good chunk of the class and they're very peppy people. They never talk.
Talking to you.
Yeah, you want to try to say that to Mackenzie and Logan? Or Kristen? Yeah, sure. All right, so whenever you guys are ready, so
I'll try that again.
Yeah, let's give that a shot.
Okay. Okay, so summary for book 4. Or no, chapter 4. Gulliver was let out of prison and he goes to Lilliput. Everyone tries to get a look at him through their windows and on the roofs, and the emperor tries to impress him and shows him around the empire.
Okay, and then we see the two factions, the Chermixin and the Samniscans, who are
Slamixins.
Slamixins, yeah.
Okay.
Who are distinguished by their height and the height of their heel, and then arguments went on debating the cracking of an egg, and then we see the Lilliputians' fear of the invasions from the Blefuscu.
Okay, the small, tall heels are used to satirize the Whigs and like the Tories of ancient people. The two. The two towns satirize France and England. The egg satirizes the debate that it doesn't matter how you crack it, and it satirizes religion and politics in France and England at the time.
Okay, very good. Thank you, guys. All right, yeah. So we do have, okay, so yes, this is some very good satire of politics both within England itself and between England and other countries, like looking at England's relationships with other countries. So as we've got the Tramixins and Slamixins are satirizing the Whigs and the Tories. As we said, because George the First and George the Second, what kind of kings did we say they were?
Absentee kings.
Absentee kings. Because they are absentee kings, because they are not involved in the running of the country that they are the monarch of, they end up giving more and more power to Parliament. This allows for the Whigs and the Tories to start splitting into these different factions. A lot of it revolves around like high and low church, you know, how Puritan are you versus how Protestant are you, or not Protestant, how like slightly more Catholic are you, which is one of the big differences that exist originally between the Whigs and the Tories. And so that's, as we heard, represented by their the height of their heels, and then the fear of France, because we're starting to get into, as always, like France is only 20 miles off the coast of England, and so fear of French retaliation, fear of French invasion is always a thing. And so because of that, and because of religious differences that exist, Swift satirizes that with Lilliput and Blefuscu, the only difference being what end do you crack an egg on, mocking, are you Catholic or Protestant? It's as simple as what end do you crack the egg on. Okay, cool, so we got that. So that was book 4. Does anybody remember book 5? Who's got book 5? Okay. So whenever you are ready, Warlocks.
So the chapter 5 summary, basically Gulliver saves the ships from Blefuscu and takes them to Lilliput, and the Emperor's palace is on fire, and Gulliver pees on it to put it out, and basically the Empress was grossed out and offended.
And then there's like satire used, and an example was like making fun of the royalty
And another example is when he uses grotesque aspects, like he pees on the castle.
Okay. All right. Cool. Good deal. All right. What do you think? What do we think that Swift is satirizing by saying that? Or okay, let me back that up. We've got the palace on fire. Just randomly, the palace is on fire. What is that? What do we think that Swift is trying to say about, or what is it that the palace represents? Disaster. The palace as a building generally represents the government, and specifically what aspect of the government? The monarchy. The palace represents the monarchy. So what does it mean that the palace is on fire?
that the monarch's corrupt.
Monarchy is going down. It's corrupt. There are problems with the monarchy. So the monarchy is on fire. And what do we have to do to deal with it?
Put it out.
Put it out in a very gross way. Okay. I'm not sure that Swift means you should literally go and pee on the king. That's probably a great way to get your head chopped off. But I think that is, he's getting at this idea that we may have to do some gross stuff to deal with this problem. All right, so that was book 5. Book 6, I can't count.
Okay. So chapter 6 it basically described how the Lilliputs lived, and it said that they were well educated, that they thought that deceit was worse than theft, and children were raised by the kingdom as a whole, and even all the poor people were looked after too, so there wasn't much of a difference, and the trees and the plants were proportional.
And another thing they believed in was the afterlife, so they would bury dead people face down, so whenever they rise into their next life, they would if they would be face down, it would turn so they could be sitting straight up.
So both sides, if they're fighting a war, they both thought they had silly laws, and then it evokes ideas of fairness because all the children are raised by the kingdom, so it's more fair, and all the poor are looked after, and they raise children away from their parents, kind of so it's all more equal and fair.
And basically, they wear different clothing, so it represents perspective.
Each population that he visits have different clothes. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, guys. All right. So, hold up real fast. So yeah, I think the big thing to take away from this is still the 1700s. What is education like? Does public education exist in England?
No, like the nobility are the ones that are educated.
The nobility are the ones who are educated. Everybody else, you know, you get trained for a trade. Maybe you learn to read at this point because we see rising rates of literacy as printing becomes cheaper. There are a lot of things that go hand in hand with that. Anyway, so as printing becomes cheaper, literacy rates rise. However, generally, education is still not for the majority. And so that's something that Swift is definitely commenting on by showing the Lilliputian system of education, that everyone receives an equal education. Even what group of people that are still traditionally not educated in England during this time?
Women.
The poor and women.
And children?
Mhm. What?
No.
Women traditionally are not educated. They may be taught to read a little bit so that they can, you know, at least read romance, like our equivalents of Harlequin romance novels. But beyond that, women aren't really taught anything, which is why when we have women like Lady Mary Wortley Montagu, she's so significant because she is self-taught and she's very highly educated. All right, cool. So I'll get out of here. Team Diva.
Actually, Uwu.
I'm sorry, it's Uwu now?
No, it's Diva and Uwu.
Diva and Uwu. Okay, all right then.
Wait, which chapter? Okay, we had chapter 7, and basically Gulliver was charged with treason, public urination, refusing to obey the emperor's orders to seize the remaining ships, and that aided enemy ambassadors.
So, and his punishment, it was originally like to be put to death, but it got reduced to just putting his eyes out, so like getting blinded. But like he was scared of that punishment, so he crossed the channel to I don't know how to pronounce that.
Blefuscu?
Blefuscu, yeah, because he was scared.
For satire, they use political parties to convey their message. It's Tramixen and Slamixen, and then they use the two powerful English parties to use satire.
And then Gulliver sits and listens to the king's like intense criticism on England, and he like pees on a fire. Yes, that's it.
Okay, all right. Thank you guys. Good. All right, so we've got that. I think a little bit of what Swift is trying to get at with this is can people who help out the state of England really trust the state of England at this point? No, they may go after you for political reasons. Like, for example, were people happy that Gulliver put out the fire when he did it? I mean, like, the Empress wasn't too happy, but were they happy that the palace didn't burn down?
Yes.
Yes, but when it's convenient, what gets used against Gulliver?
Like him breaking the law, even though he helped them out.
Good. Him breaking the law, even though it was to help them out.
They were just like trying to pick any little thing to get him.
Exactly. Good. So any little thing they could use.
Like, wasn't he helping them?
Yes, he was helping
That
them.
was also.
How many more? How many books are there total? 4. And as we said, what kind of satire is this? Menippean. It's Menippean satire. And what did we say? Who can remember what we had said about Menippean satire? What characterizes Menippean satire?
It's a long, winding narrative.
Uh-huh. All right, so it's long, winding narratives.
It attacks the flaws and
Absurdist.
All right, so attacks flaws in thinking and reasoning. It is absurd, grotesque,
Scatological.
and scatological.
And an example of Alice in Wonderland.
Wow.
Wow.
All right, good. So examples are Alice in Wonderland, Gulliver's Travels,
South Park.
and South Park. Modern example, South Park seasons 15 through 15 through 19. Okay. So this is what we got. These are these are the characteristics that we've been focusing on with Menippean satire. So really quick, where do we see Menippean satire in Gulliver's Travels? What flaws in thinking or reasoning is Gulliver's Travels Book 1 attacking? What's it all about? Yes, no, maybe? Yeah, the whole book together. What is it?
It's like a jab at the government.
Good. It's a jab at the government and the flaws in the government. Specifically, we're starting to see Swift go after the differences in Whigs and Tories, because who are they mainly working to benefit? Are they working to benefit the country?
No, it's themselves.
Themselves. They're working more to benefit themselves than the country. So he's attacking that. He's also attacking who is seen as the country's biggest rival, France. So he's attacking that rivalry that exists with France. So with that in mind, that's what we've got going on with Menippean satire in Gulliver's Travels. If we were to look at the other books of Gulliver's Travels, so book 1 is The Voyage to Lilliput, and it attacks the government. Book 2 is The Voyage to Brobdingnag. And if Lilliput is all about people who are 1/12 the size of a normal human, Brobdingnag is the opposite. Instead of 1/12 the size of a human, what are they? 12 times the size of a human. So Gulliver becomes the Lilliputian to them. Gulliver becomes the really tiny person to them. So the Voyage to Brobdingnag is actually all about pointing out flaws in society. And this is where we see a lot of grotesquerie, because Gulliver is like all up in people's business. They think he's the cutest, tiniest thing ever. And so they're all like, ooh, he's so cute, and like holding him up close to their face, right? Which to him makes their pores look enormous, right? So every little thing about them, their smells, their faces, everything to him is disgusting, because he's seeing it magnified several times over. Book 3 is the voyage to Laputa and the Islands of the Scientists. And this one is mocking flaws in science. So
Takes his hair.
The taking of the lock, which is the
Hair.
the lock of hair. Okay, good. So real quick, we haven't really talked about this before. The word rape. Does anybody know the origin of the word rape?
Yes. No.
Anybody? Yes, no, maybe? All right, actually, one of us over here. All right.
I'm gonna read that later.
The word rape comes from a Latin word, rapio, rapere. Okay. So it comes from rapio, rapere, rapui, rapu. This is an interesting word. We get, for example, the word rapture from it. What's the rapture?
The rapture, the coming of Christ. When everyone disappears.
It's a very specific event. What?
When everyone disappears.
When everyone disappears. Everyone who is righteous and is going to heaven is going to just go poof and be gone. Good. All right. So that is what the rapture is. The idea being that God's just going to snatch up his chosen people and they're just going to disappear all of a sudden. Right? So rapio, rapere is the Latin word to steal. And so most texts, when you get into older texts, if you see the word rape, it doesn't refer to sexual assault. It's actually referring to theft. Why did they come to mean the same thing, though?
You steal someone's innocence.
You steal someone's innocence. Jared?
Because you're taking it without permission.
You're taking it without permission because generally, who is the one being assaulted?
The man.
Generally the weaker of them, but most of the time when we talk about sexual assault, the one who is being assaulted. Now there's a lot of awareness being raised to the fact that this is not always the case, but the one being assaulted is generally a woman. So rape comes to be associated with, the word rape comes to be associated with sexual assault because who does the woman belong to? Herself?
The man.
Her husband or her father before her husband, right? So generally, the term rape comes to be associated with sexual assault because basically you're taking another man's property. That's, my feminist spiel on that. But rape in this context is referring to theft. Specifically the theft of a lock of hair. All right, now, I did say that this is a mock epic. Have we talked about mock epics before? Yes, no, maybe?
No.
All right, so a mock epic, who can take a wild guess? What's mock epic?
An epic that's mocking
Hannah? Mackenzie.
an epic that's mocking like the message that they're trying to send, or it's like isn't it just a satire basically?
Yeah, okay, good. It is a satire generally.
Is it something that mocks one specific group?
Okay, it's usually mocking a specific group. Essentially what a mock epic is a parody of an actual epic in order to mock a specific aspect of society. So it'll have a lot of aspects of the epic and it'll make fun of that epic. Anyway, so what we need to look out for are the different characteristics of epics as we go through this. So, can I have a volunteer to read the first couple of lines down to my lays? All right, Glenn, go for it.
What dire offense from amorous causes springs, what mighty contests rise from trivial things. I sing this verse to see, muse is due. This even Belinda may vouchsafe to view. Slight is the subject, but not so the praise. if she inspired and he approved my ways.
All right. Background on this. So Alexander Pope.